Hey, so this is Dr. Brian, and welcome back to the Pin Drop. I've got a little different idea. Hopefully you've avoided the fatal flaw. Hopefully you have got your word count and you're working daily on how many words you can write. The more, the better. I'll be the first person to tell you, the more words you can get on the paper, the better off. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is picking the genre you want to write in. And I don't care what your genre is. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me. It can be romance, it can be thriller, it can be fiction, nonfiction, mystery, cyberpunk. Genre, subgenres, all that. Space opera. Write us the next Star Wars. It doesn't matter. But you need to become an expert in that genre. You need to see what works, what doesn't work. What are the rules? What rules can you break? What rules can you not break? What's the word count? Who are the big authors? What are they writing? What's the part of that genre that hasn't been written about that you could kind of go in and get your little niche started as an author? And a lot of times it's the research that you need to do. It starts with you. So picking the genre, and I'm going to just start with, because I write a lot in thriller and mystery, it's all over the place. You could do whodunits. You could have a thriller. Is it a legal thriller? Is it a spy thriller? There's all these different subgenres of it. Look at how these authors have written these books. Are they the big? And again, you're going to have to dig around in your genre and your subgenre, but you'll see some of these authors, their chapters are no more than 750 pages because they're trying to get you hooked in and flipping pages and reading really quickly. Some authors, completely different. They got the 20-page, pretty standard chapter, and you go up and down through that chapter. Is your genre writing in a certain tense? First person, third person, limited, omniscient. It's going to totally depend. You have the latitude to pick. I'm not saying you don't. But a lot of things you see these days are third limited. Now, you can see some first-person stuff, and especially younger stuff, middle-grade stuff, you see a lot of first-person stuff. But you got to dig in your genre. You got to look and see. And I'm going to put a list down here at the bottom, and I'm going to talk about the different genres out there. But there's certain things like romance, 60, 70,000 words, you can rip a romance novel off. I think if you look at, why could I just The Notebook. I totally lost it. I think it's around 55,000 words. And you can go look at Nicholas Sparks' stuff. He readily tells you, the story is as long as the story needed to be. And in his query letter to agents and publishers, he basically said, it's 55,000 words. It's in that ballpark, but it's a good story and people like it. And they'll like it for these reasons. And you, like I said, you can go out and find it. I'm not going to do it. But most of the stuff in that genre is a little bit bigger. Most thrillers, you're in the 90,000 words, 80,000 words, depends on who it is. Fantasy, sci-fi, 120,000 words. But here's a perfect example of people going outside of it. J.K. Rowling in middle grade, and that's what the first one is basically middle grade. That's about a 50,000 word genre. It's not a lot, but it's enough for kids. Her first one, I think, is in 70 to 80,000 words. So bigger than the genre, but they knew they had a hit. And I don't care who you are. If you've got a hit on your hands, the rule book changes for you. You can go. And you look at her last things that are like this big. It doesn't fit middle grade, nor does it fit YA, but she knew she had billions of kids who were dying to read it. So she could write whatever she wanted, and it wasn't a big deal. If you ever get to that level, just write whatever you want. But trying to get in and trying to break in, make sure you're following the rules of your genre. So it's going to take you doing some research. So I'm going to give you some things, and here's a basic list for it. What's your word count in your genre? That's number one, and it's pretty easy to find. There's a lot. Look and see all the subgenres of your genre. And there's too many to list here, but you'll see that, cyberpunk, fantasy, space opera, they have different subgenres of what it is. You just got to dig around and see. Look at how big chapters are written, how quickly things are put out. And I read mystery and thriller. Brad Thor and Steve Berry, big fan of, love them. They're one book a year people. And 90, 100,000, 120,000. I mean, they're at the point now where they can kind of dictate their own word length, but a lot of them are that 400-page novel. So around 90,000 words. You know, look and see what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, but also in your process. Look to see what agents are out there, what publishing houses deal with it, and then start finding out what they do. Because all of them have trade magazines. All of them have information websites about it. I get the International Thriller community sending me a newsletter once a month, and it tells you all the stuff that's going on in the International Thriller, who's being published, what their stories are about, what they're entertaining, who's all that. Because I write in that kind of genre. If you're writing in a different genre, go find out what they're putting out. And they are. And start learning what you can and what you can't do. Now, I'm going to put together a couple different things for this, and in particular, one of them is a worksheet. And what the worksheet is going to look at your genres, and I want you to look at them in the sense of who is the big author, who are the top 5 authors in that genre. And what I want you to do is start reading those people. And I don't want you reading them to copy them, because it's not the intent of this. But read them and see how they tell the story. And are there tricks and techniques that you can use or can't use? And here's an example. I'm a very big fan of Steve Berry. I love Steve Berry. I think Steve Berry's an awesome writer. I've read everything he's put out, and I've met him a couple different times. I've also seen a lot of the videos that he's produced for YouTube and other like news channels. He'll tell you what works for him or doesn't. So you can kind of follow these people because they're readily out there. A lot of them are. You know, Stephen King, you know, if you're writing horror, Stephen King has videos all the time from different talks at colleges or different events where he has basically said. So you can find out what these people are doing. But genre, you got to know your genre. And I would say this: I don't write in one genre; I write in multiple. But it's better usually if you write in one genre. So again, Twitter. I don't use Facebook, so not Facebook. The pin drop at gmail.com. What else do we have? If you need beginner writer program, there's one down there. And then, hey, I'll see you in the next video.